So I'm here with Dave Pookie, coach, life coach, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt extraordinaire, and we're talking life coaching today. So tell me about what you're doing, man.
Geez, well, I'm born and raised Salt Spring Island, BC. Just recently moved down to the great country of the United States of Alberta. Alberta, United States of America. Jesus, I'm still in Canada. That's why we're having this coffee. But I used to work in the oil fields. I started when I was 20. I wanted to be an electrician because it was the trade that paid the most money. It was one of the cleaner trades.
Yeah. So electricians are that's a great field at the end right now, especially right now. Yeah.
But I did that for 7 years. I was married, had the white picket fence. I thought I had everything figured out back in the day, and then I realized I was miserable with what I was doing, like my job. Mm-hmm. So I quit that and to go after the next goal, which was opening a gym.
Nice. And so when you say gym, was it like a fitness gym? Because I mean, you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so when you do a gym? I mean, are you doing a jiu-jitsu gym? What kind of gym are you doing?
So recently, or when I first started, I wanted to do a mix. I also I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I got into when I started 15 years ago. It was kind of like we were training out of a gymnastics club.
Nice.
And we did kickboxing. Our jiu-jitsu classes were showing an arm bar. It was like old school, right? 15 years ago. So I kickboxed the entire. I pretty much done all of my kickbox, Muay Thai, wrestled.
Nice.
And jiu-jitsu all in one. And I lived in Thailand, right at the end.
You lived in. So how long did you live in Thailand for?
3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I went there specifically. It was like one of my bucket list things to go fight in one of those local Thai stadiums.
And how was that? What was that like?
It was awesome, honestly. The experience, just so right at the end, I was like, all right, I'm quitting my job. I had no plan B. All the guys that sit at my lunch table would be like, "What? Are you fucking crazy? How are you going to start a gym?" I mean, it's funny, we look back at these things that are rolled out. No business plan, just. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna what do 99% of people that don't do what you're doing right now do? Something else, and everyone's like stuck in it. But it's so easy to get stuck in this bubble, right? Thinking this is all there is. So I made this decision. I remember I spent my last birthday sitting in a camp room, and I don't know if you know what camp room is. It's just like out in the middle of nowhere in the oil field, like literally in the middle of a forest, like flat forest in Alberta. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, man, there's more to life. There's got to be more to life than this. When you just know you're built for more. And now I feel like my journey is to inspire other people. So I quit my job, and I wanted to go to Thailand forever. So I booked this gym called AKA that I wanted to go since I was young. Big gym. There's one in Thailand, but the main one is in the U.S. I think San Jose. So it was amazing. I went there, and it really showed me I'd say probably the biggest thing I learned when I was in Thailand, despite just getting to go train there and stuff, was just the people. When you go to third world country, I go to Nicaragua a lot now. I actually I'm planning a retreat. I'm not sure if it's going to be there next year as well, but you just learn the way these people are living.
Yeah, it's a totally different way.
You just realize that the materialistic things are so. Yeah. Everybody's happy there. I mean, that's a very bold statement. I doubt everybody's happy, but you can just watch. There's no the homeless people, way less. You realize that life is so much more than the materialistic shit you see every day.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've been to Thailand before, and it's there's a spiritual element to the place.
Well, there's probably wealthy people there, right? You just don't even you don't really even know.
Yeah.
I came back. I had a buddy that I'd known for 10 years. Said we should start this gym, and next thing you know, I'm like, we're starting it. I started out of another person's space to start, so we shared the revenue, the rent. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, right? When you first start something, I had no idea what I was doing. I came home, sold my house. I got divorced.
So big life changes.
Big life changes. Everything. Sold my house. Sold I had the dream life on paper, right? But sold my house, got divorced, which, that was a fucking process in its own.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, right? When you're going through things.
Yeah.
I learned so much just as like a man when I was going through that stuff. Like during the time, I would just project like it was all the other person. It's so hard to take, like, you think that makes yourself feel better by putting it all in it. But then I just did so much inner work and realized, like, you know what? I was a major part of this as well.
I'm sure.
Well, it's like any relationship, they're two apart. But like, the moment I started
100%.
focusing on all my shit, that's when my life really started changing. Stop blaming, and I was just like, everything's my fault. Let's just start playing it like that.
That's a good place to start. I always feel like, you have to take personal responsibility for where you're at in life.
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly, and different. It doesn't matter. No. It's like you created the life you're in. So
I'm like, what? I'm like, I married. I chose to get married, and it's true though. Like you nailed it. The personal responsibility is probably and the accountability is the key to fucking everything you ever wanted in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I started this gym, and I remember starting. And this is like, this is what I tell everybody now, man. It's like, because society is so full of instant gratification, right? People, like, they don't like something after 6 months. There's like this thing that they should have already figured it out or already got it done, like 6 months to a year. And I remember the first 6 months, it's like I was talking to someone the other day, just so living below your means. I drove a smart car. Like, went from having a brand new 4Runner right off the lot, smart car after Thailand. And I was happier than shit at the beginning, but it was like, I'm like, man, I went from making like over 6 figures to fucking $400 sleeping on my buddy's couch. Yeah. Starting this gym. But I knew, like, I was gonna give this a run. I was gonna give it everything I had. Yeah. And 4 months goes by. I'm like, fuck, I'm not making anything. But I could feel that I had a passion. Like, one of my skills is bringing people together. Yeah. Like community, because I feel like the world lacks a lot of community. It's like everyone's on their phone.
It's like there's not a whole lot of genuine, authentic, networking anymore. Like, you're not going out to lunch with people. No. You're not like meeting people Zoom. For dinner. Or like, everything is electronic. Everything is like in between distractions, basically.
And so, it's not a lot of face to face. So I started that, and it started taking off. It's crazy when I go back now and I talk about like the whole like story. You never really realize, like, I'm like, man, like, because like everyone from the outside, right? Even when I look back on my own journey, like, to where I built the gym, it was like, you ought to be a little crazy to think that you can actually do it. You know what I mean? Like, all entrepreneurs, that almost delusion to a point of like, this is actually like, I'm going to be able to do this with no, like, business loans or investors. And I had investors along the way offer, and like, well, business, I had fallouts. Yeah.
You got to be careful about, when you're starting off, also just giving away, everything you're working on. Like, if you start your own business and you just immediately bring investors in too early, and they're not going to work it, you just what'd you do? You
might as well go get a loan.
You just cut your ownership in half. Someone owns it, that isn't going to be working it with you. Yeah. And so I think it really compromises you. So I think there's a lot to be said about starting your own gym and going through whatever trials there are to just safeguard that aspect of it.
Well, the value, like the knowledge you gain, like it's funny, right? Because the me 7 years ago would have, like, the advice I would have been giving myself is so far off the reality. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I use this term, you see so many like uneducated experts, right? Like, everyone has something to say, but like, that would have been me if I didn't gain the knowledge over the 7 years. Like, near the end, like, all the things I would look at, I'm like, man, I was such an idiot because I didn't fucking know any better. Yeah. You really just...
Yeah, you're always hindsight 2020,
You're just doing your best. So I had that gym, and then I moved to a different location. I ended up taking me about 4 locations. Wow. To get to the main location, and then that was like my dream, like the brand new fitness studio. And like from like, I came like when it's funny because where I grew up, I was like just a shit disturber when I grew up. Like, so I went to jail when I was 19. Just for being an absolute idiot, really, like my own doing. And then, a couple of my buddies, one of my best friends in jail still, I think, for like some weapons charge breaches on his probation.
Whoa.
And my like when I was younger, like my 18, 19-year-old best friends. One of my good friends, Adrian, though, has I grew up with one of my best friends when I was younger. He's got a kid, wife, but I was him and I was the only one that like made it out.
Really?
Of that shit, just poor choices.
Right.
But then, yeah. So like to get in that dream fitness studio, it's like it was crazy because I worked so hard, but over the years, like it's it was everything I wanted, but it taught me everything as well. Like when I finally got there, I realized like I realized that when I reached the goal, what I've learned is like it's like the power of like why not, like what's next, like finding your purpose and then keep passing on the purpose. Like I built the gym, I met so many amazing people. Like the relationships I built, had obviously there's some shit ones in there too.
Yeah.
That just
so when you're winging something like that, you don't have a plan. You're just kind of putting it together, and you're just going by instinct and personal taste, and you're just kind of putting it together. You're kind of building it off of what you already know about your experiences in other gyms.
Yeah.
Was there a model that you were following? Like, was there another gym that you were like modeling off of, or was it modeled off of like prior gyms that you belonged to?
Yeah, honestly, it was like when I think about it now, I really just like. I honestly, that's a great question because I don't even know if I still know that answer.
Yeah,
like I just had this vision in my head that I wanted to have, like I wanted to have awesome workouts, great music, and a good vibe.
Right, so quite vague.
Yeah, quite vague. But
as long as it came together
this vision,
like that,
black and white. Like.
Yeah,
I had functional training, and then the martial arts too. But the martial arts industry, there's a lot of. I fell out of love with the martial arts industry just because there's a lot of ego, self entitlement.
With the athletes or with
athletes or coaches
as well.
Yeah, just the community can be that way.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it was like that for me in Taekwondo as well. I mean, I was kind of a loner in the Taekwondo community just because I just wanted to do things my own way. I didn't want to follow the way the Koreans were doing things. I didn't want to follow the way that the other American instructors were doing things. I had my own way of training, but they didn't like that. They didn't like that I was doing my own thing. So yeah,
it can be
martial arts is like that.
And I guess I don't want to say I fell out of love in it for sure. I fell out of love with coaching.
Yeah.
Interesting. I just, it's just more of a personal thing. It's a very selfless job, but then, I probably, it's as I get older though, like when I say that, that's my experience is not everybody's experience. So, but I can only, but I learned so many things, like not setting, like I always look at where I could have done better for the next ventures, because that's how we grow. I should have planned better, not in the martial arts. Like I wanted to have this, like, I switched over to more of an MMA side, and then the fighters, it's not, you got to focus on the general population, the people that want to have like hobbies, not just be fighters.
Yeah, no, it was like that with CrossFit. It was like that in our Taekwondo studio. We had fighters, and we had people that came in and did the classes, and just for recreational purposes, personal development type stuff. That was our bread and butter. And then the same thing with and the athletes always got in our way, but we needed the athletes because they attracted the people. So yeah, it's the same model.
It's like an interesting catch-22.
Yeah, it really is.
And then you get this entitlement thing. You get these people that are like entitled when they like. And I always, but okay, and this is, and I always say extreme ownership's the answer to everything. So like when I say these people were entitled,
Jocko Willing.
What did I do? I should have set clearer boundaries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I lacked in boundaries that ruined ruin a friendship.
Yeah.
The irony is, if people don't have that self-accountability, they'll just think it's one side, but there's never one side.
That's right. And I think that you're right. And this is one of the problems in getting into doing things that you love.
Yes.
As your profession, is that you're gonna be around people that you love and adore, that you're friends with, that your comrades, all your buddies, and then you're gonna become buddies with everybody that's in the gyms. But if
the saying,
yeah,
friends in business.
Right.
They don't
Yeah.
mix.
Friends and family, friends and business. It just doesn't work. Right.
Well, because
family and business, friends and business.
The thing is, like, one of my best business relationships is actually my head trainer who bought the gym, and I had a conversation with him, and I said, look, man, I love and care about you. I've loved and cared about every employee I ever had. I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am. I wear my
right.
I'm too much of a giver. It's
Yeah.
cost me in the long run, just like I said, boundaries. But I told him, his name's Rob, and I said, hey man, like, I got to be honest with you, like, we're getting close. I love you. I care about you, but I can't be too close with you.
That's right.
Because it has affected every prior relationship, and every mentor I've talked to has told me the same thing. And if you're one of those people, like, if you were the employee that got affected, you don't know, because you're a business. You think you know shit, you don't know shit.
Right.
You haven't taken those risks. That's why you think you should have these rewards, but this person has, and I learned that the hard way. I learned a lot of my lessons.
It's the friends with benefits.
Yeah.
It's the discounts.
Well, you know what I told him?
Discount
I said
standards.
I said the reason I'm telling you this is because we aren't the same. Like, when it comes to and I say that as respectfully as I can. Because I love you. Outside of here, fuck yeah, bro. Me and you were boys. But in here, you're not my equal. You're not my equal because you didn't take the risk. You don't have $25,000 going overhead. You are an employee, and I'm a gym owner. And if you want to put skin in the game, we'll talk. But you see what I'm saying? So when we become close friends, I don't want you to get it twisted thinking that we are equals because you know everything about my life. Yeah. That's not how this works. And when that happens, that's where the resentment happens, because you're not, I don't get this that Dave has. Well, have you taken any risk?
That's right.
You can quit any time.
Yeah, these parameters that are normally defined with people that you're just acquaintance with, they're customers, people, employees, and stuff like that. Those parameters that are clearly defined get blurred when you're in friendships. And it's unfortunate because you want to be friends with everybody. Yeah. Well, you also want to take care of your friends.
Yeah, bring them along for the ride.
Right, and you want to make money with them. You want to have good relationships with them. All these things we want to share with them because we enjoy being around them.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you want to win with them.
That's right.
You want to
win with them.
In the fitness industry, it can get miscued, right? Like, you've owned 4 CrossFit gyms. People think you're just like this guy. Run on a Rolls Royce, dude. I don't think you understand. I make a decent, but I'm like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
no, everyone thought I was sitting up in my ivory tower looking down.
But at the same time, though,
nope.
At the same time, guess what? If you took all the risk.
Yeah.
So that would have been all right. If there's anybody that would have, you know what I mean? Because as I learned, getting out of a lease, I had to get out of a lease. I'm like, fuck, man, this is I had a business partner 6 years ago that left and was asking me for money with a 3-year lease. I'm like, dude, I learned later that you should have owed me money, know, but you know how it is. It's just, but it's the uneducated expert. It's the people that don't know always have the most to say, but it's that like you said, that one of the most valuable lessons I learned was the friendship barrier. And it's crazy when I finally learned my own lesson, because I said, forget all that, I people that don't literally know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Try you've probably been in your business, people attack you or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you look at them and you look at your life okay, you own nothing, and this isn't even a direct, but I just look at your life. You don't have any idea what you're talking about because you've never done it.
Yeah.
So of course you're gonna, in your head, you probably believe the shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I learned also just over the years. And it used to affect me a lot, because I would hear people talk about me behind my back and things like that. And I would, what was the they used to say I was the gym owner that was always on vacation. I was
going out for nice dinners.
The absentee gym owner.
So I used to have people that would talk about my dinners. Going out for nice dinners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second. Hold on. Are you telling me what would you like me to do? Would you like me to hate myself and live a shitty life? Oh shit, that's it. Fuck, you got to be a great guy if that's what you're requesting of me.
Well, it's so funny you say that because my Taekwondo master told me because we
imagine being a grown up talking about someone else like you going on vacation.
Yeah.
You want to know what the scary thing about that is? I don't know who these people, you see these, like, say those stories.
Yeah.
I guarantee you take one look at those people's life. I don't think I could tell you how their life was because nobody I know, I would never be speaking about another grown-up's person. Like, go on. Bro, since we've met, I hope you go on vacation fucking 15 times a year. And I hope I go with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what you would want. That's what when you kind of grow up out of that, you kind of think that way. But I remember my Taekwondo master telling me, don't ever show up to the gym in a brand new car because everybody will quit. Like you need to, they won't want to give you money. And and that's exactly what it was like. It was like, I would buy a brand new car. So what? Big deal. And I would show up at the gym. And you'd always, it was always somebody that would say, "Oh man, I'm paying for your car payment, ain't I? With this, with this gym membership, And I remember somebody saying that to me. I was like, "Wow, man, I mean, you have no idea what I've gone through
you've got
to build this gym to where it is right now.
I'm losing. That's why I'm growing a mullet, man.
Hair? It's silver."
Yeah. No, but you know what it comes down to though is it comes down to people get jealousy, man. It's a real thing, but you know what? It's like totally. I heard this thing the other day, and like jealousy, it's all it is desire, right? And like because people only are like that with things that they really envy, but what you realize is most people do the work. Like I don't get jealous of someone living in Ballard in the nicest condo there because I don't want to live there. You know what I mean? So it's only what you desire, but if I've learned, because I used to be one of those people. I used to be one of those people that was jealous. And I remember this is one of my biggest things I've taken so far to this day in my life is jealousy can be a superpower. Because when you feel these things and it's like, oh, it's triggering that emotion that what am I lacking that this person, if I'm looking at you or there's something, what is this break? I'm getting that feeling that's making me feel less than, or I desire something that you have. Right. Why don't instead? That's amazing. I'm so self-aware that I'm not saying that, but I'm like, I have the power to realize this and be like, you know what? Why don't I fucking ask you, hey man, can you show me how to like do this or look as good as you do when I'm 55? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like seriously, because that's all it is. It's just showing me what I really want.
Yeah.
I just want to instead I want to hate on it. Right. So hopefully it'll make me feel a little better to try to bring you down to bring myself up.
It's the idea of if I can reduce the value of this, then it's going to help me cope with not having this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what people do, So when they look at someone and they tear that person down, it's because they want what that person has.
Yes.
And they feel like if they tear that down, then that's going to make them feel like they're superior in some way. And all it is just a coping mechanism for that, feeling of wanting to have what that person has and feeling lesser than of that person. So I think that it's a real insecure way of living your life. And
well, if you live that way, you're forever going to be a loser. Seriously. Yeah. And that's what people don't understand. It's like, if you don't change, man, you don't change that, man. It's going to be a scary road ahead of you.
Yeah. Like I always worked from the frame, like a mind frame of like, I've got to prove this to myself. So I always had like a chip on my shoulder, but my chip on my shoulder was, I was scared to death of failing when I started doing something because I was like, holy shit, it's going to be scary to be broke and living out of a car if this fails, so I was driven by fear, which is a good motivator.
It is a great motivator.
You can put your back against the wall and it makes you work hard and it makes you do the things that you wouldn't normally do, and so that's what I used as a motivator. I never really had the, I guess the mindset of like, I'm doing this so that I can have what other people have. I always had the mindset of like, I just love martial arts. That's why I got into Taekwondo and I did it for the love of it. And I just knew that if I was going to do it, I need to be able to support my family. I need to make enough money to retire on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't need to become filthy rich. Like, I wasn't driven by the money. I was a coach, for God's sakes. I was like in Taekwondo.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
And so I was
another business.
Yeah. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to be wealthy doing that. But, then with my CrossFit gyms, it was the same way. Like, I loved owning the CrossFit gyms, but when I was a Taekwondo master and I was teaching classes and I had this gym and I had all these members, I just remember when I went into CrossFit, I was like, you know what? I don't want. There was so much stress having everything be on me as the main guy.
Hey, so listen to this saying. This is the reason now that I've successfully built a business from no business background, sold a business, and if my brother-in-law is listening, I was just telling my sister from LA when she was here visiting. Like you said, I'm like, this is the house of Jake, and I'm like, I don't want this, because essentially I'm not building a business, I'm building a cage, and when I was told that the more valuable you are to your business, the less valuable your business actually is.
That's right.
Because it can only run with Jake.
That's
or
right.
Dave.
That's right.
Because when you're gone, it ain't a fucking business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
that changed my perspective. And I always, like you said, I knew I didn't want it built around me. It's just I knew from the foundation I kind of had to, and that's when I was like, I need to step away and have other people. That's what I was saying. Like that one friend who ended up buying my business.
Yeah.
That boundary I set, I realized that bringing him up, you need good people around you.
Yeah.
That's
important. I think that your life is somewhat defined by the people that you have around you. And so
I would go to the point of saying your life is the people around you.
I believe you're right.
Because if you and people always ask me, Dave, what's now I'm going to reiterate this. Like, my passion now is like, I've come from nothing. I struggle with depression, addiction, and I have reached a point in my life where, for the first time I actually feel good. I feel like I use joy because happiness is a hard state, but the moments of joy I have in my life. So my passion and purpose is to show people that if it's possible, I can do it, you can do it. And like the number one thing I tell everybody, let me look who you hang out with. Let me look at their life. Literally, I just want to look at their life. Let me listen to how they talk.
Yeah.
Because if I look, and about a year and a half ago, I was hanging out with, and you know what? When I say it, people are like, oh, sounds like I'm not shitting on these people. It is what it is. They're in charge of their life. But I just looked around at my life and I was like, all right, I'm in this relationship, and I took a look around and I knew I had to change, because I was like, I was the only business owner. Mm-hmm. I was the only one who was engaged. I was, and I'm like, well, I want to learn how to build another business after this. I want to learn, I want to buy another house, and I want to, have a great marriage.
Right.
Well, none of these people own a house. None of these people are married, and none of these people own businesses. And people are like, well, no, but that's what I want in my life.
Right.
And that's my standard. And that's my future. Right. Why? And whatever it is you want, I don't know. I don't know a lot of people who don't want to live their best life, and that's my best life. And then I looked around, I'm like, well, none of these people are doing that. They're drinking every weekend. They're not going anywhere. How am I ever going to get to my goals by hanging out with these people?
That's right.
And it's nothing against you, but it's personal for me.
Yeah.
It's personal towards me. Yeah. I need to become better so that everything in my life can be better. And if you can't grow together, once you're past 30, this ain't fucking high school no more.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, it's just what you said. If people don't understand how crucial that is, because we talked about the uneducated expert, is people, you can fuck your whole life up by hanging around the wrong people with no goals and dreams. Like you will literally, it'll bring you down faster than.
That's right. Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why I got into coaching, was because the best influences I had in my life were my coaches that were in my life. They impacted me the most, and I always wanted to be like them. And so I just was like,
you're probably
I look up to this person, and I just remember I want to be a person that people look up to as well.
A leader, a real leader.
Yeah.
A real leader.
Yeah, exactly. And so I never, and being a coach sometimes is, it's difficult because as you know, like we're dealing with people that have a lot of problems and a lot of, and I've gone through my own share of problems as well. I think the only difference between me and them is that I studied solutions to get out of my problems, and I went through the experience of getting out of my problems and finding the solutions for them, and then I'm teaching these solutions to these people and guiding them through those solutions. And so, but it doesn't come without, there's a lot of pain and suffering out there in the world.
Dude, you just hear what you just said. You said, what people don't understand is like, I don't know, it took me 35 years to learn. I'm glad I learned. Everybody I look up to, my mentors, they get out of bed, they drink water first thing in the morning, just like I do.
Yeah.
They eat, sleep, and breathe the same air.
That's right.
What have they figured out that I hadn't? Oh, maybe I should go ask them instead of just fucking, this guy thinks he's hot shit, or because he's looks like he's living a bit of better life. And like you said, you think this, I fucking struggle all the time.
Yeah.
Everybody struggles. Everybody goes through hard times. It's what you do about it that differs. Because when I used to hang around, and I used to be someone that just bitched about their problems, didn't care to have any solutions because it was easier being a loser.
Yeah.
It's that stage of
so easy.
Stepping out. It doesn't take any energy being a loser, but it takes everything in you.
Some people make it an art form.
Yeah, seriously.
They're good at it.
It takes everything really in you to pull yourself out of those fucking ruts. And but it's like once you break through, like, I get a buddy who's like, I haven't drank for a week. I'm like, dude, I mean, I'm not going to diminish your accomplishment, but you've been saying this for 6 years.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to get out of these humps. And then you don't drink for a month, and I'm just using alcohol in this one. But then those demons creep back up, and then you usually go back because you can't handle facing the man in the mirror. But once you start facing that man in the mirror, the suffering gets a little easier as time goes on. And but being aware that fucking hard times never go anywhere.
That's right.
Well,
I mean, I think that's it's like you said, you're not just centering yourself around your people that are bringing you down, but if you're in a down place, you're around a down person all the time yourself,
I'm into that.
And so you not only have to get around people that are going to lift you up, get you in a good place, but you got to figure out what part of you can lift up and keep yourself up so that you can get the part of you that's bringing you down to get on board, and get moving into that direction. And that takes time because that's, that's a mental habit in of itself.
Well, I love where this is going because it's like when I first started and getting into coaching, because I'm like, the other thing is too, because like there's a lot of people with the internet now that anybody can say they're a coach or like, with zero, you know what I mean? I'm a business coach. Yeah. Well, you've never owned a business. So you're going to give me business advice on leases and overheads, but you never owned one. I've never believed that way. So it's like, sometimes the word coach gets a bad name, but it's like, now in my head, I have undeniable proof that I am who I say I am. Like, with I have a jiu-jitsu background, my business background. But the thing is I realized, as I would prior, and this is to anybody, listening, the first part, it's going to be hard. It's never going to be easy. And once you accept that it's going to be a fucking grind, it's going to be hard. You're not going to feel like doing it every day. I would go 2 weeks when I first started, and I would feel a little bit better when I wanted to change my life, and then I'd fold because it was a little bit hard, or I'd get comfortable. And I've learned that it's what you do in the mundane times that really it determines whether you actually really want the life you talk about. And once you actually do the work, because when things get easy, it's easy to fold and quit, and that's the cycle. It's the pattern. The moment things get a little bit hard, we give up, or the moment things, I'm kind of comfortable where I am. It's kind of mundane. What now? And I've realized it's just a constant. It's a marathon.
Well, it's the burden of performance, right? So what happens to a lot of people is they train themselves into this cycle where it's like, I work really hard, I accomplish, and then I enjoy my accomplishment, and I cruise for a while, celebrate it, whatever like that, and then I kind of can go into like a coast, like just coast, and it's like that's not what it's really like. It's it's every day is a grind. Every day you're working towards your goals. Every day you're living a life of intentionality. You've got action steps you're moving towards. Even if you move just slowly and you're just making one step in that direction, you just keep going. It's a game of consistency. But that level of burden that they place on themselves in saying to themselves, wow, I just need a break. I need to be able to break free from this. It's such a burden. And it's like, it's only that way because you told yourself it's that way. And if you just embrace the fact that life is going to be this way, and you learn to enjoy the fact that it's given your life meaning to be this way, then you're going to just do whatever it takes, and you'll just keep going. It's the voices in their heads that are telling them these things, and people around them are telling them these things, and their family had told them these things, their friends have told them these things, and then they start to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you're going to accomplish, you can't get a black belt in jiu-jitsu unless you can overcome the burden of performance. You can't have your own business to be successful unless you overcome the burden of performance. Most people just can't overcome the burden of performance. They're burdened by having to perform every day.
Hey.
That's the problem.
And it's once you establish that it's just going to be the hardest fucking thing you've ever done,
and it's never going to stop. It's going to be like that all the time.
It's going to be the hardest thing. And if you're in a place and you're surrounded by people that are going nowhere, and you know what? It's the harsh reality of life, man. There's two types of people in this world. There's winners, and winners do shit. And there's losers, and losers just talk shit and watch. Yeah. Seriously. And when you realize, which one of those do you want to be? And if you're surrounded by losers, when you decide to change, and I use the term winners and losers because it's just like, it can mean anything. Whatever winning is to you. Yeah. If you're going to go after that life, it's going to be the hardest fucking thing you ever did.
Yeah.
You're going to lose the majority of your current friends. People are going to say you're fucking crazy. They're not going to understand you. They're going to talk about you, but eventually the talking's going to stop.
Yeah.
Okay? And when you fucking start reaching those goals, they're going to start asking questions. And guess who's the one who's fucking crazy?
That's right.
Not the one working towards their goals and dreams. I can tell you that much.
It's the worst. I think the worst are the dabblers, because they dabble in things and don't really go very far in anything.
Well, you want to know why? The word starts with a C. And everyone's just afraid of that commitment.
That's right, commitment.
No one wants to. They want to dip their foot in the pond and go swimming.
Yeah.
To this beautiful fucking magical waterfall that they see the pictures on Instagram. Yeah. But they don't understand. There could be sharks in that water, man. You don't know. There probably is something that's going to fuck you up along that swim.
The little coral reef on the side.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't know. And they just want to talk about it. But they see another guy jump in that pond.
Yeah.
A year later, he's at the waterfall, and they're still sitting there throwing rocks and shit talking that guy.
Yeah,
because now he's staring at what they wish they were staring at.
Yeah.
Only because the difference between the two people is he jumped in, and they stood there dipping their toes in.
Yeah, because you don't get very far.
I'm only talking about waterfalls because we're going to Oregon tomorrow, and I have to look at all these sorts of these waterfalls. But
no, I get it. Yeah, no, I mean they have amazing waterfalls there. But yeah, I think that the dabbler is, again, it's a burden of performance, right? It's this idea that I don't need to commit, and so therefore I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna see how it goes.
When's the last time you've just
you immediately just set yourself up for failure?
Well, you know what you said earlier, and it's fear can either control you or it can guide you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So pick which one. You want to be controlled by fear, or do you want it to scare the shit out of you so bad that you almost have to do it? Because you got to be a little crazy.
Yeah. I say you jump in with both feet, you commit 100%, and you get yourself backed up into a wall, and you learn from that experience, And you learn what that's about.
Like,
that's what I do. That's how I am.
Well, have you ever heard of those stories? Like, when the boy's like, "Dad, I can't swim." He's like, "Oh yeah," and he just hucks him in the water. It says swim. Most of the time, they figure it out. I mean, God forbid he drowns. But that's kind of like what we're talking about in my past with just starting a business, no business plan. You're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'll figure it out.
Well, you'll tear that business plan up after the first day because you'll learn more in the first day than that business plan could ever give you beforehand.
It's like, it's the same thing goes, education or experience, and I'll take experience.
100%.
12 out of 10 times.
100%.
And it's like we talk about, we were just saying about, I've had this thing about coaches, now that I'm in this industry, and I'm like, look at this person, they're talking about like, just making words up, really. And they're like, and I'm like, so you do what? Sorry, so you're a business coach. All right. Did you ever own one? Like, well, it's all about programming your mind. I'm like, well, fuck, man. If you're going to show me how to swing a baseball bat, I hope to God you've been on a baseball field. Because you know what I mean? It's just, it's one of those things where it's like, it's just like you said, the experience, and that's, like when I have people reach out to me, I'll straight up tell them, like, look, man, like maybe I'm not. Right now, I'm just working with men to start, just because that's my niche. Yeah. Because I only give experience based off my experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really think that whatever you decide to do, you have to put both feet in and commit to it. Because the beautiful thing about commitment, and we talked about this, is that it's freedom.
Yeah.
Because you make one decision and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to make more decisions about doing it ever again. You don't have to dabble. Dabbling to me would be, it's so it's a time suck, and you're trying to get some amazing experience from something that you're not committed to. And there's nothing like
that's when I knew I
being full on committed.
That's when I knew I decided about a year ago, just before I went to Nicaragua with my fiance and some buddies. I knew at the friendship circle I had to change. I should have set clearer boundaries, learned that, and I knew that my commitment to the in-gym it was my time.
Yeah,
it wasn't giving me, I just wasn't loving it as much as I used to, and I know, like, you can't do anything great unless you're 110% committed, and that's how I knew. I'm like, it's time to sell the gym, but I had the passion that I wanted to help and show people what I did and what I can do, what they can do too, and that's how I knew it was time.
Yeah. I mean, like when you've kind of outlived your, the love of it, and I had a gym. My first gym, I went in. It was in 1990. It was 1993. I opened up a gym with my Taekwondo master in Queen Anne in downtown Seattle. I was 25, and I basically cashed in my 401k from working at Nordstrom selling ladies' shoes, and it was like $4,500. And we bought flooring. It was actually carpet, and I painted the walls white, and I cut out the words Taekwondo, and I put it on a white vinyl, and I put that up outside, and I just said Taekwondo. So, and I waited. I waited for people to. I was on a really busy street across from a college and everything, and I waited, and no one came in, and I was just like, whoa. And it was like, I went a week, no one came in. Went 2 weeks, no one came in, and I called up my Taekwondo master and said, hey, no one's coming in, and he came over, and he writes, free, 2 weeks. On the, because he told me to just make a banner. 2 weeks on the banner, and he put that up there, and all of a sudden we just had place just flooded with people. So it was like a good learning experience for me. But it was just
2 week trial.
Yeah, but I was living inside my gym, and I was just taking showers at the gym.
Get the must be nice?
Oh yeah, I mean my gym wasn't anything to really kind of right home. I mean, it turned into like an amazing gym at one point. I had it for 10 years and sold it, but it was an amazing gym, I had it from 93 to 2003, and then I sold it and opened up a gym in Green Lake. But it was an amazing experience. Like the way that it grew, and it only grew because I was 100% committed. Like there was no turning back. Once it was like the lease was signed,
there was no plan B.
There was no plan B, man. There was no way I was going to let that thing fail.
No.
It was just no way. You just make it work.
It's bringing me back.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But that experience. It makes you who you are. Alive.
100%. I wouldn't be the fucking guy I am today without all the experience. Like I feel like I've grown. That's the other thing, on the other side of all the shit that it's hard. The growth is like it's fucking damn near unexplainable.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Mastering your emotions and fucking, the trials and errors. And I listen to this guy Eric Spofford. He's just always talking. He's like, man, along your journey, he's like, it's just like, you're going to be attacked. There's going to be slander. There's going to be people doubting you, family. He's like, just keep fucking going and be pure in your heart. And eventually you're going to look up one day and you'll be like, man, I knew I could get here, but how did I get here? Because
that's right.
It's the journey, and it's like like you said, the no plan B and never quitting. It's just this, it'll get you farther than fucking any business plan ever will.
Absolutely.
Not saying that's not important if you're starting a big business, but
yeah. Well, it was the same thing when my gym shut down from COVID, and I went online. Like I had no idea how to do anything online. I've only had a landlord, four walls and a ceiling. I mean, that's all I was ever used to. Cleaning, seeing people face to face. I didn't know anything. I barely ever emailed anyone because I had people that worked for me that did all that. So when I went online, it took me a good year to like learn how to do Canva, learn how to put together my social media, and my social media was horrific. Yeah. And then I remember I hired a guy to boost up my social media, and it destroyed my account. I went from maybe like 600 followers to like 14,000 followers, but they were like not followers. They were just like bots, and it just ruined my account. And so that was like I had to start all over again. And I was like, you know what? I need to do something that's different that I've never done before. I need to kind of create something that's fresh and new, exciting. Not this ex CrossFit coach, ex Taekwondo coach.
Did you want to be more than just a CrossFit? You know what I mean?
Well, I needed to create a new identity. I needed to create a new path in life. And so I got my life coaching certification, and I was doing health coaching, and I used to own Paleo Health, which was like a health company, and we used to do a lot of challenges and stuff. So I knew nutrition really well, and so I was just thinking, God, you know what? I need to do something here, and I didn't know what to do, and so because I didn't know what to do, I just started going, well, you know what? Let me put some videos out there of me just being like this healthy mid-50s dude. So that's what I did, and in my I just remember my TikTok one day. It was like I was at I had like I got to like 2,000 followers really quickly, and I thought that was like unbelievable. I was like, holy crap. And then I started watching some guys that were doing some things, and I learned how to edit it, and I threw a couple of those things up. Next thing I know, 100,000 followers, 150,000 followers. It was just like, whoa! It just kept going. And so then I was like, okay, now I got to figure out a way. I need to sell them my health coaching. so it was like I built the account up first.
Yeah.
And then I had like a captive audience.
That's awesome.
And then I was like, okay, now it's time for me to kind of do it in health.
I'm not great with TikTok, but social media is your resume to the world.
It is. Yeah. And so but you got, I've got two worlds. I do one where I'm just doing health coaching and focusing on life coaching, health coaching and fitness. And then the other one is just, I guess you would call it old man modeling. It's just like mid-50s guy, modeling clothing or modeling, like brands and stuff like that. But you do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And that's like my tagline is like you got to do whatever it takes. True. It's like you may not even know what that is yet.
Dude, you said you just fucking nailed it. You may not even know where you're going.
Yeah.
But
you just do whatever it takes.
You put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
You're going to run face first into a fucking brick
Absolutely.
wall. And you're going to move. Oh, shit. There's the next goal I knew I wanted. Boom. There's the next one.
That's right.
And you just, that is the key to success.
I think so.
And as far as it's just doing.
Perseverance, man.
You know what? I was talking to my buddy, and I'm like, man, just do it, man. And I look at this is a business he wants to start a year ago. I'm like, because you want to know why, man? Is most people just do it because most people don't do shit.
That's right.
That's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's like what our whole conversation has been off is, it's putting your foot in the water, expecting to go swimming. You just fucking go for it.
Yep.
Because, what if never made it to the arena and, it's better to fail than not fucking do anything at all.
I believe that 100%. And I think, people that are half-assing things in life and just winging it and just half-assing it, it's the same thing. You're just dabbling.
But you got a half-ass life.
Yeah, you gotta commit to evolving. That's the commitment. The commitment is I'm not going to be the same tomorrow as I was today. I'm going to be a better version. And every day I'm going to be a better version than I was the day before. Every day. It doesn't matter if I'm sick. Doesn't matter if I got this going on. I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to apply that new thing to something in my life.
You can't get worse if you keep showing up.
Yeah. That's right.
It's a perfect example of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Right.
You can't fucking get worse. And that's the thing. I'm just still, getting my black belt now. I still don't know fuck all. I'm just a white belt.
When did you get your black belt?
A year ago.